Nothing says you care like crypto.
Body, her choice, and like that. Yeah. My question is, if we give a woman the right to opt out of motherhood, right, should we also give a man the right to opt out of fatherhood and 18 years of child support?
I agree. You don't agree?
No, I don't know.
But if a mom walks into an abortion clinic and says, you know what, I'm not feeling this, and gets an abortion, the dad has no say. How come this mom can't, let's just say it's a one-night stand, just hypothetical. And the mom comes back to the dad and is like, hey, I'm pregnant. Why can't he opt out if she was able to say, hey, I don't want this baby? It's a double standard.
Well, he could obviously sign his rights away, but he cannot physically make
he can't sign his rights away because he has to pay child support. I mean, he is legally bound by child support.
Honest, that's just the way it is.
I know, but do you think it's right?
You can't tell a woman to have an abortion. Like, that's it.
I know, but do you think it's right that a mom can say, I don't want this baby, but a dad never can?
I mean, I just think that's just the way it is.
But do you think it's right?
I mean,
yes or no? I don't think it's right. I think the whole system's fucked.
We spend so much time talking about a woman's choice.
Right, but the man doesn't have one.
But my only point is, what reproductive rights does a man have?
None.
Guys, this is where we've come to. This is the point that we've now arrived at. Society wants to get rid of men. It is a deliberate thing that is occurring. Society has been deliberately trying to get rid of men for well over 100 years, for easily 100 years, hundreds of years. This goes back before the 1900s, maybe even the 1800s. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of society trying to get rid of men and how that's going to change society going forward. Today's video comes from Men's React. His channel will be linked in the description of the video so that you can go check him out. Don't forget to follow us on Rumble. Our Rumble is linked in the description of the video. Most of our content is now coming out exclusively on Rumble, so if you're missing Angry Guy content, go and follow us over on Rumble. It's linked in the description of the video. We'll go ahead and jump right into the video after a moment from Angry's Crypto Academy. Guys, you can see what's going on around us right now. The economy is absolutely not good. And the smartest thing that you can do for yourself, for your family, is to protect yourself with crypto. So don't forget to check out Angry's Crypto Academy. Hard times have arrived, ATMs will stop working, and banks will chain the doors. Protect your wealth and safeguard your future with crypto. Angry's Crypto Academy offers comprehensive courses, expert investment guides, and our exclusive crypto blueprints to teach you how to buy, sell, trade, and invest in crypto. You'll learn exactly which coins have the potential to create new millionaires and how to spot the best investment opportunities. Don't miss out. Secure your financial future now. The Academy is linked in the description of the video. And now let's go ahead and jump right into the video.
He places men dead last every time, and society expects men to place themselves dead last every time. I think if I was going to be an object, I'd rather be a sexual one or somebody's prized possession than an object that can simply be thrown in the trash or smashed into pieces in the service of somebody else's purpose.
Mechanics are becoming harder to come by as open positions stay vacant.
We're experiencing a shortage of just about everything these days, and now we're learning about a shortage of airplane mechanics.
There is a shortage of skilled tradespeople throughout the U.S. economy.
I could hire 6, 8 experienced plumbers right now.
But they're just not out there?
They're just not out there.
First and foremost is the perception of plumbing. There's this stigma that goes along with getting your hands dirty. Just a plumber, not a person, just a plumber. And I don't want to be that guy.
Some people tend to look down on that, and that makes people not want to go into it, clearly.
Men won't participate in a system that hates them. It's as simple as that.
This is not a conversation about the top men up here. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of men CEOs and all that. Okay. This is a conversation about men in general. Most men are not in positions of power. They're regular guys walking around, and you know what they are? They're figuratively castrated by society and by modern media. They're walking around being told they're toxic all the time. They can't say anything to women without having their head bit off. Oh, you're a misogynist. For every little thing, they're like, forget it. God forbid they want a feminine woman. It's like a crime. That's what's going on for the average guy. There's expectations of them. They're going to make 6 figures. They're going to do all this. In the meantime, the woman gets to just do whatever she wants and claim feminism.
You see, and that's another thing. You had this one of these dating coaches for men saying that men need to stop saying that women want the 666 guy, because the only reason why women are saying they want the 666 guy is because men are saying that women want the 666 guy. And if men stopped saying that women want the 666 guy, then women wouldn't be saying they want the 666 guy. Can you imagine how sick that is? So basically, because we're saying that's what women want, that's what women go for, that's the reason why women are doing it. Do you guys see do you see the gaslighting that is occurring here? And that's a men's advocate. There's a lot of there's a lot of nonsense as well from a lot of these other a lot of these other men. For example, they're saying that the reason why men don't want to don't want to go and become plumbers is because it's the idea of having to get your hands dirty and work in poopy water. But that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. We're having shortages of everything. We have shortages of mechanics, of airplane mechanics. We have shortages in the military. Okay? We have shortages. We have shortages in so many different fields right now, trade fields. And it's like, what are you talking about? What you're saying makes literally no sense. There are so many shortages, and there's a lot of these are for jobs that there's no shame in doing these jobs. And these jobs pay well. There's a shortage of machinists. There's a shortage of electrical engineers. So what the hell are you talking about? The reality is that men no longer see a benefit to work hard in a society that does not like them and will only punish them and humiliate them for simply being men, because men understand that they are now disposable. And then if you look at the internet, how toxic it is filled with simps. The manosphere is filled with simps who celebrate every time you hear a story that, a teacher was in a relationship with someone who she should not have been with. Suddenly you have a bunch of men cheering in the comments like, oh my gosh, when we were growing up, where were these types of teachers? And any red-blooded man understands what we're talking about. These are sick dudes. Because if you ever reverse the scenario, it would be over. These are sick dudes. And there's a multitude of them. And it's like, that's why I don't really want to deal with anyone these days, because they think it's cute. And they will never change. These are weak men who have no real morality. They talk of morals, but they have none. And it's a complete double standard. And they're the reasons why we're suffering in society. And then when something goes downhill for them and they suffer and they go out there and now everything's a mess, they want to come look for Uncle Angry. And I'm like, get the hell out of here, bro. Don't even watch my videos. And what are they doing? They're watching my videos. Guys, you know what ends up happening? Like I am suffering right now because I've had to put a lot of these men out of my community. I banned a lot of these dudes. What do? They don't leave. They continue to stick around my channel and argue and troll and all this other garbage. Why are they still here? Because they have nowhere else to go. They have nowhere else to go. They've created a completely toxic society. They have nowhere else to go. They get comfortable here. They misbehave here. We say we don't want them here, and then what do? They start trolling and creating problems because these are toxic individuals. And they know anywhere they go, they can go to any other channel, they'll get put out too. But it's like it's a never-ending cycle because these are very, very bad people. These are very low-value individuals. Okay, very, very low-value individuals. Modern women don't care what men want. Modern women believe that men are there to serve them. Okay, that's what a man's job is. His job is to serve. They want a man to be both a man, to be both a husband and a wife, to be her best friend, but then also but then also the guy that she picks on. You can never win. Really, what women want are two different men. They want Poncho and they want Paul. They want Paul to pay all the bills, do everything in the relationship, never have access to any physical intimacy, worship them like they are goddesses as they resent the man for worshiping them. And then they go and have their physical relations with Poncho, who's the man that they love, the man that they desire, mi amor. It's sad and it's pathetic, yet this is what men are dealing with. And then you wonder why men are actively getting up and just walking away, which is the reason why I say don't focus on relationships, focus on getting your money. And one of the best ways to do that is by investing in crypto.
If you think you've missed the boat on Bitcoin, think again. The crypto world is exploding with new opportunities. And while Bitcoin has already made its millionaires, there's still a chance for you to get in early on the next big wave. I've put together an exclusive guide on 4 altcoins that could change the game and change your financial future. These aren't just hype coins. These are real projects with groundbreaking technology and massive upside potential. This is your chance to get in before they hit the mainstream. But listen, crypto isn't just about getting rich, it's about freedom. Freedom from traditional banks, freedom from government-controlled money, and freedom to take back control of your life. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy. When you join the academy, you'll learn everything you need to know about cryptocurrency, how to buy, sell, and trade the right way, how to spot the coins that can truly take off, and how to use crypto to achieve real economic freedom. And here's the best part. When you subscribe, you'll get a free copy of my crypto blueprint. This is packed with valuable tips and strategies to help you get started, and it's yours just for joining. The link is in the description below. Don't wait around and miss another opportunity like Bitcoin. Those who act now will be the ones who win big. So if you're ready to take back control of your finances and start your journey to freedom, join Angry's Crypto Academy today. Let's make it happen.
Why she gets to live the exact way she wants and make the demand she wants, but he can't do anything and say anything without getting his head bit off. That's the reality of most men. That's why men, and the conversation was about why men look to Andrew Tate.
If my wife is upset with me, she can stop preparing my meals, stop doing my laundry, freeze me out of the bedroom, and not respond to my communications, all without repercussions. If I am upset with my wife, I cannot freeze the credit and debit cards. I cannot stop paying the bills. I cannot stop paying for her car and phone. There are no repercussions for a neglected husband legally. The family court is also stacked against us.
Why men are checking out of society and relationships. People don't go where they're unwanted, and everybody always puts the blame and shame on men for everything that has gone wrong in society. A woman wants a man who is emotionally available and sensitive, but if a man expresses his sensitivity, he is told that he has a fragile ego. If a man wants to defend himself against a woman, she will shame him into being quiet by saying he's either too aggressive or he has toxic masculinity or he has, again, a fragile ego. If a woman says something offensive, she is protected. If a man says something offensive, he is canceled. It's considered sexist or misogynist to point out a woman's shortcomings, and you have to walk around eggshells with them because of their sensitivity. But men get mocked, ridiculed, and disrespected in society, and they're just supposed to sit back and take it. You can make fun of men all you want online, mock them, criticize them. If you do that to a woman, you'll
This is what really screws men. As men, we are socialized and conditioned to only feel anger. This is the only emotion you are allowed to feel as a man growing up. And this is the one emotion that gets demonized when you're older. So I'll give you a simple example. So when I get bullied in school, like, what am I supposed to do, Stephen?
In school, well, it depends if you can fight back.
Absolutely. Like, you didn't say talk to the teacher. You didn't say cry about it, because if I cry about it, what's going to happen, Stephen?
You're going to get bullied more.
Absolutely. So men experience anger as something called an umbrella emotion. We literally suppress and are conditioned to suppress all other emotions except for anger. And then if you talk to men about their experience of life, anger is always the first thing that comes out of their mouth. Someone breaks up with you, how do you feel about it? Do you feel ashamed? No, that's not what we say. I feel pissed off. How could she do this to me? And then we vent that anger on the internet, and then this turns into misogyny. The men who are saying these kinds of toxic things are saying that for a reason. This is because of their upbringing. This is because of the world that they lived in.
A man who has followed the rules his entire life does not want to clean up the emotional and physical mess a woman created by chasing after the dude who broke all the rules his entire life. No man is going to help a society that actively hates him and destroys everything it means to be him. If you give one side of a spectrum every advantage to win a game, and the other side every disadvantage in the game, then why would anyone even play?
When I come back to America, it's just like consistently this like, how can we put more accountability on men and how can we take more accountability away from women? And then like the mainstream media, the music, the video games, like you're in the gaming industry too, you know, like everything is just like piling on to shit on men and like endlessly jerk off women. And guys are kind of just like, all right, like it's kind of gotten to this point where it's fucking ridiculous. Like guys absolutely have issues too, but men are just not gonna sit around and cry and feel sorry for themselves, but women will 9 times out of 10, they will do that.
Here's a story that many men will be able to relate to. It's mind-blowing sometimes. Do you ever have that one guy in school that girls would pretend to think was cute just to tear him down when he gets his hopes up? That was me. Outcast. In my 20s, I was ghosted, laughed at, dumped, and everything you can think of. I spent my 30s focusing on myself, and now I'm pushing 40 with money in the bank, a nice car, and a stable job, and suddenly it's, oh, there are so many single women who would love to meet a guy like you. Seriously? I spend half my life being rejected and outcast, and suddenly I'm supposed to swoop in and be a knight in shining armor for some chick after she got chewed up and spit out.
What do you think it means to be a man today in 2023 then?
You don't even need to look anything like a man to be a man.
Toxic masculinity for sure. Women in general are seen as like meek.
Women have all these options, match, nonstop.
Young men have to some extent been de-skilled in terms of relationships. And if there's a war, you've got to pick sides.
Men are literally disgusting.
White men dominate and exclude women.
Men are trash. That's common in society.
And in the absence of proper role models, men are feeling lost, lacking direction, and even forgotten.
Young men didn't know what they were supposed to be doing.
Most men are desperately lonely.
And if either gender can't show up as their best, it can only hurt society. But in today's lack of nuance, is it considered sexist to even explore masculinity? And can we realistically find a balanced approach to gender dynamics, or is it too far gone? I guess we gon' see. What do you think it means to be a man today in 2023 then?
In 2023, you don't even need to look anything like a man to be a man.
I agree that society puts huge pressure on men and it's time for men to perform. As a man, you either perform or you don't. There's no safety net like there is for females. Females can wake up and say, I don't feel like it. The men who say I can't feel like it cannot compete with the men who do not say that. And it is player versus player. The man who goes to the gym every single day, regardless of how he feels, will always beat the man who goes to the gym when he feels like going to the gym. And it's player versus player. And let me tell you something. As much as you want to sit here and disagree with me, it's women who decide who the winner is.
You know, what is there about the developed nations that is leading to boys doing so poorly? When it comes to boy-girl time, if he feels he's a sensitive boy and then is being rejected by girls because girls tend to date winners, not losers, and he's now experiencing himself as a loser because he doesn't accomplish things very well, he then becomes angry and hurt and withdrawn. And if the video game addiction doesn't satisfy him, or the alcoholism or the drugs don't satisfy him, he can turn to porn, which will addict him to girls and women as objects rather than as real people, and which leads to more rejection by the girls who feel treated as objects because they're being treated as objects. Those are the boys that are set up for the mass shooters. They look to ISIS or some other larger sense of purpose that their dad didn't provide, or they become our prisoners. In the United States, 93% of the prison population is male.
Here's the reality, guys. Most of us aren't checking out of society. We are checking out of relationships and families.
The honest truth is that I've said this before. If you guys, it's about control. The reason why they want to put men out of society is because they want to control society. And this is one of the reasons why you have a lot of this stuff now, you know, where they cannot really define what is a WOMAN anymore. Why, now that you're told that, gender is a construct, and basically it's not about gender and a person's biological sex are two different things. Gender exists, was it like gender exists in the mind, while sex is simply biological. And our genitals are simply biological. They don't actually define our gender. That's something that exists mentally. And my beliefs is that the reason why this is occurring is because they want to remove the identity of men. We worry so much about women being protected and the identity of women being protected, but notice that to be a man, you have to live up to the standards and ideals of others. What they're trying to do is erase the lines between these two groups so that men no longer exist. Basically, you're just capable enough of keeping society going, keeping things moving along, but not asking any questions, not realizing how badly you're being screwed over, and just obeying. Because that's the only thing that can stand up to tyranny are men. And if you want to have a society that you can completely control, you have to demoralize. So you have to make these men demoralized. You have to divide them. You have to make them want to give up. You have to isolate them. You have to basically say that there is no purpose. There's no reason for you to try. There's no reason for you to go to the gym. There's no reason, if no one likes you. This is, this is all deliberate. This is all deliberate. MGTOW is definitely something that works for men, but let me make it clear. Society is celebrating MGTOW. The state is celebrating MGTOW. Women are celebrating MGTOW because you have to understand they work for the state. They are agents of the state, so they're celebrating MGTOW. They're celebrating men walking away because a society without its men is not a society. A country without its men is not a country. A country without its men is a wasteland. Okay. So of course, if you want to bring hell on earth, you have to get rid of the men so they won't stand up to the devil. If you want to destroy, and I've said this already, if you want to destroy a country, destroy its men. And if you want to destroy its men, use the women to destroy the men. And that's what we've seen in society. It's never going to come back. I've said it already that feminism will never go away, not entirely. While the label may go away, the legacy will live on forever. It is something ingrained in our society. It's something ingrained in women, and women are never going to leave it. Are never going to leave it alone. They're never going to take a step back. That's why men are going out there and investing in things that actually bring them real value. That's why men are going out there and investing in things like crypto. And as I've told you guys, go and check out Angry's Crypto Academy because hard times have arrived, ATMs will stop working, and banks will chain the doors. Protect your wealth and safeguard your future with crypto. Angry's Crypto Academy offers comprehensive courses, expert investment guides, and our exclusive crypto blueprints to teach you how to buy, sell, trade, and invest in crypto. You'll learn exactly which coins have the potential to create new millionaires and how to spot the best investment opportunities. Don't miss out. Secure your financial future now. The Academy is linked in the description of the video.
Still participate in society without a girlfriend, a wife, or children. Until men are treated fairly by women, society, government, and courts, this is going to get even worse.
In the female body and more fat, and the opposite in a man. And so if we just forget, that how we are both, as men and women, equally important, men are missing where they're supposed to be, the rock, where they're needed. Men are needed in the household. Men are needed to take care of the boys that are, maybe don't have fathers and need better examples so that they don't get put out into the street doing some, crimes and getting involved with the wrong crowd, because when a boy is lost, that's what he does. Okay. And then, gets into drugs, gets into...
Let me make this very, very clear. Women cannot raise girls. I'm one of the only men that talks about this. I've never heard any other man say this. Okay? A mother cannot raise a daughter. Women cannot raise girls. And I get it. A lot of my subscribers have no interest in raising daughters. Okay, and that's your choice. Me personally, I would not want to find myself in that situation either. But you need to understand, women can't raise girls. We see exactly what has happened. We see exactly what's happened where you've had fatherless homes and you've had multiple generations of women raised only by women. We like to talk about generations of men raised by women and the consequences, but we never talk about generations of women raised only by women. Women cannot raise daughters. You know the reason why? Because one, they don't respect their mothers, they respect their fathers. Two, a woman, just like a boy, just like a son, does not learns how to control their emotions from their fathers, not from their mothers. The behaviors that they see their mothers engaged in are the behaviors that they're going to go and emulate. Without a father in the home, the way that they see their mothers handle men, the relationships that they have with men, a lot of women will encourage their daughters to go and get pregnant, and have a baby so that they can then, collect money, live off the state, stuff like that. Guys, you would not be able to do that if you had a father in the home. If a woman is raised by a man, only by a man, she is less likely to end up getting pregnant. She's less likely to end up being homeless. She's less likely to end up using various substances. She's less likely to end up going to prison. It's no one listens to me on the subject. I don't know. I'm exhausted because no one ever talks about this. I would argue that women need fathers more than boys need fathers. I know I'm not, don't get me wrong. Men desperately need other men. Men desperately need fathers. Men desperately need those figures. But let me make this clear. You cannot have a functional society until you have functional women who will not tear down society. And you cannot have this unless you have women who have been raised by fathers and they have values instilled into them that mothers will never instill into them. It all comes back to the father. Okay? Of course, God is at the center of the family, but the man is also the man. You cannot have a functional family without a man. You really can't. Now, I understand there are situations where, a woman cannot have a man in the house because, let's say, the husband passed away or something along those lines. And that's a different situation. It's a sad situation. It's a different situation. But typically, when something like that happens historically, even if the woman never remarries, because we had a type of society where we had the family unit before the boomers tore it down, there were always uncles that would step up and help to raise those children, grandparents that would step up and help to raise those children. So they had a large family. They had men. Back then, we don't have that anymore. The boomers tore it all down. The boomers are sociopaths, and they're the reason why we have this miserable society that we have right now. And the boomers were the first generation that went hard in getting rid of men in society. Guys, women need men more. Women need men more than men need men. Girls need men. Girls need their fathers more than boys need their fathers. It's true. Because if a boy doesn't have a father, he has to figure out how to survive on his own. And of course, there's a bunch of other bad things that will happen when he does not have a father in his life. But when a girl doesn't have a father in her life, what does she do? What ends up happening to her? She ends up in the streets. She ends up in the arms of these really bad individuals, Chad and Tyrone. She ends up she ends up disliking men. She ends up listening to things like feminism. And I'm not saying anything bad about feminism. I'm just saying she ends up going down this path. And I'm just pointing all of this out. So there will be no functional society. I want you guys to understand and comprehend that. Because no other man talks about this. I don't know. I'm not putting words in anyone's mouth. I don't watch every podcast. I respect the hell out of Myron. He is one of the people I respect so much on this planet, and his views align so much with my own views. But I've never really heard him mention this. And again, I don't watch every bit of his podcast. So if he has, forgive me. But I don't even know if I've ever heard Myron talk about this, that women need fathers. Girls need fathers more than boys need fathers. Don't get me wrong. Boys desperately need fathers. They desperately need that masculine figure. But what you don't comprehend is that, do you know where femininity really comes from? Femininity, the concepts and principles of femininity were developed. I truly believe the art of femininity was developed by men. I believe that men are the ones who taught women all of these different things. Like, for example, all of the things that women enjoy and that are associated with the feminine, where did it come from? It had to come from men, because women don't really create anything. For example, makeup, that didn't come from women. In fact, the first people to wear makeup were not women, it was men. All right. Fashion, style, all of these things, beautiful outfits. All right. That didn't come from women. That came from men. Men were the first ones to be taken with vanity. If you go back 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, all of the statues were of men, handsome, beautiful men. They were all over society. They were the ones all in paintings. So it was all focused upon men. It's, guys, even things like ballet. The first people to practice ballet was created by men. It was danced exclusively by men, and women took it over. So the concepts of femininity, the concepts of what men find attractive, these things are values that were instilled into women by men, not by women. Because if you leave women to their own devices, what do you guys think? Do you agree that society wants to get rid of men? It has been actively trying to get rid of men, because, a society without its men is not a society. A country without its men is not a country. It's a wasteland, and men are the only ones who can stand up to tyranny. Hence, so that the tyrants can have their ways, they need to get rid of the men, and they've been very successful at doing it so far. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video, and just remember that all roads lead to MWA, Men Walking Away, and cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.